r/AskReddit by iReddit. Teachers of Reddit. What's the stupidest thing you've caught a student doing in your class?
Like and subscribe, or else these'll be in your bed tonight.
Giving/receiving a hand job under the table at the back of the class. They must have thought I couldn't see. Or maybe they did, and that's how they flipped their switch. Regardless, I simply said those two who are *texting* asterisk at the back, put your *PHONES* away. Awkward blushing all round. 9th grade girls ate pot brownies for the first time. Freaked out in class. Asked to go to the nurse. And cried that they needed to go to confession. Not a teacher, but one guy in our class in high school picked up a floor tile and dropped it on another student's head who happened to sit right in front of the teacher. The teacher just let out a long sigh and said, "Are you a fucking idiot? Go to the office." Had a student crumble up his test out of frustration, put it in his coat pocket he was wearing, and asked to take a walk. Nah bro. I witnessed a girl chew a pen and it burst in her mouth. She then spat the contents onto another student who smacked her with his chair. Middle school was a bit mad. The little blue ones. Edit, little blue chairs. Had a student who would bang on the windows when she was upset. She would only tap it, but I'd stop her and say, "Don't do that, you're gonna break it and hurt yourself." Sure enough, one day she hit the window extra hard and it shattered. Poor girl just looked at me and started to cry with blood dripping down her arm. Had a 6th grade student tell people to call him Jigglypuff. He regretted it after 2 hours until he eventually left the school. Not a teacher, but in class, I think it was grade 2, I saw this one kid crack open 3 glow sticks and drink the liquid. He's done a lot of other stupid things, but this is one of his highlights. Kids do stupid shit all the time. The thing that grinds my gears are the kids who are talking. So I'll stand by them to give them the hintest foo. Then I'll put a hand on the desk. Then I'll call them out. 9/10 the kid will say, "What? I wasn't even talking." Like I'm literally watching the word come out of your mouth as I'm calling you out, and you have the nerve to tell me you're not talking? Are you shitting me? Had a kid who liked to fart during class to get attention. Would do it multiple times a class period until one day he pushed too hard and crapped his pants. Never did it again. One of my 2nd graders was trying to eat his own shoe. I had a kid stick a paper clip into an outlet. He flew out of his chair and blew out the circuits of a wing of the school. 10th grade. Edit, this isn't even the dumbest thing, it's just what popped into my head last night. I once had a kid, 7th grader, come to school covered in soot and reeking of what smelled like a BBQ grill. Turned out he was high off his ass and was trying to cook out marijuana extract on his stove in his kitchen, and his stuff exploded on him. He was so high he couldn't think of anything better to do but come to school, since he was already in trouble for truancy. That and the dozens of other kids I've busted coming to school high in my 7 years working in public school in Colorado. Not a teacher, but my sister knew a kid who ate one of those dinosaur sponge things, pill-shaped thingy, during lunch as a joke. He got very sick. Oh. Last month. During 9th period. I watched a boy I hated eat the inside of a highlighter. He went to the hospital. Both of these kids were in high school. I caught some junior high students putting big rocks in the toilet bowl. Later, they were summoned before the principal. One time I had a student, 2nd grade, who was constantly getting out of his seat and running around. I got fed up and told him to glue himself to his seat. He decided to take it literally. Maybe I was the stupid one here. Another time a student tried to tell me that his real name was Blaze, 1st grade. Edit, so apparently Blaze isn't that rare of a name. I knew it wasn't his name since the attendance sheet, name card, his backpack, and other teachers all gave evidence to the contrary. I teach college. One of my students tried to bite another one last week because the first girl was trying to take a snap of her. I threw them out and reported the behavior because screaming, fighting, and trying to bite one another in class is not college behavior. They showed up to the next class straight up pouting that they won't be allowed to act like this in class anymore. I had a student, A, who copied part of another student's, B, lab report. The problem is that they shared the document ink docs and student B wrote in the text in a freaking different color, something along the lines of you should change this section of your analysis because it's too similar to mine and the teacher might notice. The two students then had 6 to 8 lines of dialogue in 2 different colors where they discuss the text they are plagiarizing. And it was handed in without taking those parts out. Talk about amateurs. Not a teacher, but someone let off a firecracker in the senior toilets and blew up the toilet. Worst part? Someone was in the stall next to it. Student was holding scissors very close to his eyes. When I asked why he was doing this, he responded that he was just trimming his eyelashes. That's all. Said it like it was a completely normal thing to do. First grader. Here's to hoping he has a bright future and 2 functioning eyes to see it. Trying to convert their classmates to their religion. Getting your fellow 4th graders excited to be JW when they know they won't get birthdays, Christmas, Halloween, Easter baskets, or St. Patrick's Day tricks was ambitious and never going to happen. Not a teacher, but when I was in 1st grade, I wrote the F word on my desk. I got halfway through, turned around, and saw my teacher looking right at me. I turned back and finished the word. Not a teacher, but my own idiot son. 7th grade. Decided it would be funny to take instant mashed potatoes to school in a small baggie. Told his friends it was Exodus. Other kid sees idiot son with drugs. Runs out of bathroom to tell teacher. Son freaks out and flushes baggie. Expelled for a year for bringing drugs to school. He's 15 now. Still catches shit about it from family. Kid turned in handwritten science report as part of final project and was failed for plagiarism upon receipt. Next day kid I'm called to principal's office and find kid with parents demanding to know how I could fail their child without even reading the paper. I really enjoyed the look on the mom's face when she saw her kid's paper that was a hand-copied wiki page complete with image tiles and footnote numbers. Not a teacher, but in 8th grade 2 kids fucked in the middle of the fucking hallway. Still doing my internship at that time. Students using micropipettes as water guns. Spraying a liquid at each other and through the lab. We had to scrap at least a dozen of them because they were either damaged or contaminated. They didn't fill them with water, but broth growing either E. coli or other bacteria. So I got mad at them. Followed by the actual teacher to the level she needed a smoke break for the first time in 10 years. Best part was making them confess their stupidity to the tar, and he definitely learned them their lessons as well. They were in a microbiology class, in a study to become a lab technician FFS. Had a kid who used his school ID and a pile of eraser shavings to try and teach his friends how to do a line of coke, snorting included. Not sure inhaling eraser shavings has the same effect. Kid in band. Worriedly, hypothetically, what would be the worst thing that could happen if somebody drank some valve oil? Me, are you asking me this because you drank some valve oil? Kid, maybe. We have a bathroom attached to our classroom. I caught a kid scooping water from the faucet and carrying it over to the trash can. The bathroom got shut down for the rest of the day. Same year I had a kid poop his pants and try to wash it off in the sink. I didn't know it happened until an hour later when someone told me poop was all over the sink. Countless numbers of kids had washed their hands without noticing somehow. That bathroom went through a lot that year. I was teaching my 4th grade class one year when suddenly, a cell phone starts ringing. This was probably 10 years ago, so it was not at all common for a 4th grader to have one, let alone to have it start ringing in class. It was the first time that happened to me as a teacher. So I stopped class and asked who had a cell phone. Everyone is shaking their heads, looking around, trying to find where it's coming from. Suddenly, one of the chubbier boys in my class figured out it's him, stands up, and shouts, "Oh no, I have my sister's pants on by mistake. She's gonna kill me." I once took a note from a boy and a girl who were passing it back and forth. I shoved it in my pocket and continued my lesson. I completely forgot about it until later that day when I felt something scratchy. Read the note, I usually don't, but this one I did, and it was a negotiation for the cost of a blowjob. He wanted to give her $10, but she wanted $100. He argued it would be an honor to suck him off and maybe she should be paying him. By the time I took the note, the price was down to $97.50. I believe the .50 was a waste removal fee, since I totally don't get paid enough to deal with this kind of shit. I called the counselor and let her deal with it. Note that I have a file of such stories and inappropriate student work. I'll publish a book when I retire. I've only been a high school teacher for 15 years, but that folder is impressively thick. Only 20 more years to go to add to it. How much will I charge for the book? Not sure yet, but I will make sure it ends with .50. Edit. Spelling mistake. Embarrassing as a teacher. Technically not a teacher, but I attended a small independent primary school and I'm still close with all the staff there now as an adult, so I pop in to do odd jobs for them occasionally, digitizing old files, marking work, cleaning classrooms, being a teacher aide, fixing desks, whatever needs doing, etc. Close bracket. This school does once a term projects where the kids pick a thing they want to do or learn and do it. It's to keep them interested in learning. Say the kids want to learn about eagles. They can do a presentation on eagles and do a painting of an eagle. Or if they are interested in trebuchets, they can build a model trebuchet. That sort of thing. Often kids choose cooking because it means once a week you get to spend a lesson baking and eating food. Anyway, once I was fixing up the science area in the back of the classroom when I looked up to see one of the kids who was doing her project of making something out of flour stick her hand into the bag of flour and shove some into her mouth. Odd but no biggie. They're 9, it's kind of expected they do some weird stuff. Except she keeps going. Shovels more flour into her mouth. Pours the bag of flour straight into her mouth. Keeps eating the damn flour. Pulls a sandwich out from her lunchbox. They're allowed to eat in class, and I think maybe she was just hungry and it's finally over. I was wrong. She pours more flour over her sandwich, then licks it off before putting the sandwich back in her lunchbox. At this point I'm silently losing my mind. She then gets a funnel from somewhere and puts the small end into her mouth and starts pouring flour into the large end. I eventually go notify the actual teacher of the classroom, but because she brought the flour from home to do whatever her project was and they are allowed to eat in class, technically she wasn't breaking any rules and she was perfectly within her rights to chow down on some plain flour. Not the only odd thing I've encountered in my time there by a long shot, but by far the most humorous to watch happen in real time. This occurred over the span of about 5 to 10. Not a teacher, but a kid got caught smoking weed in the bathroom right next to the principal's office. I was the student in this. I had gotten my ring finger stuck in a buddy's face mask at football practice during a drill. He aggressively pulled away and shattered my knuckle. Having to rub some dirt on it and get back in their mentality, I used athletic tape and fixed it to my middle finger. I figured that's all the doctors would do anyhow. I'd change the bandage every couple of days, but it hurt like hell. About 2 weeks later the swelling and pain had gone away and I was sitting in my math class and had finished the test early. I decided to examine my finger, and to my surprise the knuckle, the second one from the tip of my finger, the bigger one, wouldn't bend at all. I stuck it off the edge of my desk and re-broke it mid-class. As I was squirming around writhing in pain, I noticed my teacher laughing and about to throw up as most of the other students heard the break as well. He told me afterward he knew what I was going to do, but couldn't bring himself to stop me. To this day I don't have full motion and can only get my wedding band on with some soap and water.